The way you paint on canvas is, first of all, you take your painting surface, which can be either a stretch canvas, or in this case, it is an archival board that has the canvas stretched over it. So after your canvas surface is completely dry from the gesso, the next thing that you can do, not all artists do this, but I enjoy doing it because it covers the canvas for one thing, is you put on what is called toning your canvas. And to tone your canvas, you use a very watered down paint. A lot of people will use a complementary color in toning their canvas. I usually use a soft yellow ochre. No reason, I guess, other than you have your canvas completely covered with paint, so there will not be any white spots showing. So we're going to this paint is very, very watery. Originally, when artists painted in the early 1700s, they had a huge problem with getting their paints to adhere to the canvas. It took them a long time to figure that out. They painted with everything from sticks and roots to cows that have eaten mango leaves to get the yellow. And that's where yellow ochre came from, actually. It hasn't been proved or disproved because this happened, I think, around the 1500s. But they collected cow's urine and camel's urine that had eaten mango leaves, which was yellow because I guess it. Then after you have finished toning your canvas, you wipe it down with a clean paper towel, and it'll dry very quickly. You can see now that the canvas is completely toned. There will be no white showing through your painting. A lot of artists don't want a lot of white. Watercolorists enjoy a lot of white showing through. A lot of oil painters do not want the white of the canvas showing through. So that decision's a little bit of a personal one. I like to tone my canvases because I do a lot of landscape painting. And there's very little white in the landscape. And the next step would be to draw what you're going to paint on the canvas. To do this, you can use a pencil, you can use a piece of charcoal, or you can use actual paint. But you need to rough out your design on the canvas board so that it comes out the way it should. And I am going to just rough out Foley's Pond. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I prefer to do my sketching with a paintbrush. Okay, and I am going to paint in a color that I can see pretty well, which is burnt sienna. And you're going to come across here. Remember your thirds rule. You do not want to have this painting divided in half, so I'm going to go a little over half. I'm going to just angle this up a little bit. I'm going to put in the bridge. Bridge is pretty much the center of my attention here. It's going to be my focal point, I believe. So I'm going to continue on here. And the arch of this little bridge is beautiful. So I'm going to put the arch in there, like so. And the interesting thing here is the arch underneath is showing, and that is going to be my darkest darks. Often when you're doing a painting, you go from your darkest darks to your lightest lights. A lot of, or most painters actually do that. I've got the road going down on either side, which I am going to gray out per, you just have to keep people from going off the painting. The water is also very interesting here, and you'll notice the arch and the bridge is gorgeous. It's such a dark, and the shadow underneath the bridge is beautiful, and there's some nice light blues in there. And back of the bridge, there's this pretty little trail, which we may just kind of sketch in there a little bit, and just we're going to have it kind of disappear, and then we will put some trees in here, probably starting here, have these trees kind of branching off in different directions. We have some trees over here. It's always good to kind of put something on either side of your painting to block it in, to keep your eyes focused in the painting. And this little tree right here, you can see, is kind of growing right next to the bridge. I'm going to move that guy over a little bit so he'll block in the painting though. And you can use artistic license. Feel free to use artistic license when you're painting. You can always improve nature maybe just a little bit. Doesn't hurt a thing. So I'm going to put a tree there. Got my trail going off here. It's going to disappear. And then I'm going to fill this in with foliage. The next step I will do would be to put in my darkest dark. Let me finish this little sketch here first. To get this little thing here. This is going to be a straight line because this is water. You have to be able to paint a straight line, which is hard. Sometimes I take a ruler and I measure up to make sure I've got that line straight. The darkest dark in this particular piece is going to be right in here underneath the bridge. And to do that color, I'm going to probably mix burnt umber and ultramarine blue, because that makes almost a black color. And black purplish color, but anyway, you can see that's very dark. I like to paint on canvas because my primary medium is oil. I've tried watercolor. It is not as forgiving as, I find it is not as forgiving as canvas. You can goof up oil paint, and let's say you don't like that. You can wipe it right out. I can put a little turpenoid on there, and that will be gone. So my mistake is gone. If that was watercolor, I'm done for. I got to start it again. So I prefer canvas. Also for longevity, for archival, what they call archival purposes, canvas will last for centuries, whereas paper is harder to preserve. If you're like a pastel painter, you have to put your painting under glass to preserve it. It should have a preservative on the top, some sort of spray material. I'm not sure what they even call it because I don't paint in pastel. But that's the main purpose of painting on canvas.